In this lesson, I want to begin the transfer from command line interfaces, where we use system.out.println, and I want to transfer into applets. So I want to show you how to connect arrays to applets. So let's start by just reviewing two-dimensional arrays a little bit. So in this program, I want to know how many rows I have first. So the rows go this way. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. The columns go the other way. So how many columns? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. Always remember that it goes row then column, and that's backwards from math class where you did X and Y. So remember to go row and column. All right, so let's say I want to find out what candy is in spot 2, 1. So I first start with the row. So here is row 2. And then I want to go over to column 1. So this is column 1. So the candy that's in there is 11, and it's a blue candy. Let's try another. So let's try 3, 1. So I'm going to go to the third row, here it is, and then I'm going to go over to the first column, here it is. So it's 16 and it's a purple candy. Let's try 0, 3. So I'm going to go up to the 0th row, here it is, and I'm going to go over to the third spot, here it is. So that is going to be a red candy in spot 3. So when you're making your own array, which we'll be making, so say we're making Connect 4 or Flow Free or something like that for a final project, you're going to have a grid something like this that will appear on the screen. And it's made up of a series of little pictures. So the pictures that we're going to have for our array are down here. So we have 5 of them, and they're named 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to have this array stored in memory, an array of integers that represents what will be on the screen. And we have some code that will take that and translate it and put it on the screen. Before I do that, I want to talk about this situation. So, whatever it is for you, you will have something like this in your life. So, salads, for me, are not delicious, but they're nutritious. And donuts are delicious, but not nutritious. So I have this trade-off situation in my life where I will often eat a salad because I need something that's good for me, but sometimes I will have a special treat of something that I really like. So we have to balance those trade-offs. There are times when donuts are okay and times when salads are okay. We have to balance that. And that's called a trade-off. It's a compromise. You have to give one thing up to gain another. So to gain nutritious, I might have to give up delicious. And it's not possible to have the best of both worlds in a trade-off. So this is our first trade-off. There will be more this unit. We're going to learn a bunch in the algorithms part that we'll get to soon. This is the first trade-off I'd like to talk about. When I'm naming my pictures, I could name them with a string. I could have called this one orange, I could have called this one apple, I could have called this one blueberry, lemon, and I don't know, grape, I don't know, eggplant, something. Anyways, and the thing that would be good about that situation is that all of those names are very meaningful. But the things that would be bad is that I would have to use dot equals because strings have to, and they're really annoying. I'd have to use double quotes, and those are also annoying and a pain to type. And strings, just typing out the word apple is way longer than 2. But if I name them with an integer, it's kind of just the reverse. It's not meaningful. There's nothing about a 2 that instantly brings to mind, oh, that must be an apple. But I can use equals equals, and that's a really easy way to test if two things are equal. I don't have to put in all those annoying quotes. I just type in a 2. And the single number, 2, is going to be way shorter than typing out apple. So I have this situation where I either get picture names that are really meaningful or picture names that are really easy to work with. Because with two-dimensional arrays, I'm going to be doing a lot of work with my picture names and moving them around, I'm choosing the thing that makes it easier to work with. But I do have situations, I find personally when I'm working with chess, that the meaningfulness is super important, so I tend to name my chess pictures with strings. But then if I'm doing like Connect 4 or something, the working around with the different things is more important, so I'd use an integer. So I have a trade-off there, our first. Okay, so the first thing you need to do when you're trying to work this out is you're basically going to work out if this is the thing I want to have appear on the screen, what do I want to store in memory? Well, that's a 4 picture, that's a 4 picture, that's a 2 picture, that's a 2 picture, that's a 2 picture, 1, and I'm getting the numbers from up here. An apple's a 2, an orange is a 1, and so on. So then what I do is I fill in the memory diagram with that information. So we have 4, 4, 2, 2, 2. And then we fill in the next row and we fill in the next row. And those are the numbers that correspond with what I want to appear on the screen. Then in my program, I'm going to declare an array. I'm going to make it an integer array because I've decided to name my pictures integers. And I'm going to make it two-dimensional array because, well, it's clearly two-dimensional. And then I dump in the values that I have decided will go in each of those spaces. So then the code in init looks like this. So here's that array that I just made. Then I'm going to need to, you're literally going to dump in this code and you're going to change some of the things. So you're going to have, this is the array of widgets here, and the array of widgets is going to make all those pictures show up on the screen. We're going to take the integer numbers and show them up for each spot. So first of all, I need to figure out how many rows I've got. Well, I've got 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 rows. How many columns? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 columns. Start there. Then over in this next spot, I hope you remember from yesterday that our first loop was for the rows and our second loop was for the columns. So you can put 3 and 5 there if you choose, or you can put row and column there. And then the last thing you need to do is we're going to choose what it is that we're going to pull out, which picture we're going to pull out, and the picture numbers are stored in the fruit array. So you should put fruit in that location. Good luck with your sheet.